Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we close in on show number 500 in our almost 19 years on the air, based out of the Intercom family of radio stations here in Memphis, Tennessee. But hello to all of you folks in Brownsville, Tennessee, on 1520 AM, 95.3 FM, and, of course, in Jackson, Tennessee, on News Talk 101.5 FM. Appreciate having Buddy Gross on with us, talking about his amazing career. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we went to the Ocoee River, and we found out a lot of things about what's going on in that area of the state, and I was really interested because we have a lot of our folks that head over that way, and so had the opportunity to talk a little fishing, and a man that knows a little bit about it because he's spent 34 years, and I looked it up. I looked it up, Dennis Baxter. It not only said 34 years, it said 34 years, 4 months. Now, I'm not sure how many days, minutes, and hours that you have with the TVA, but good morning to you, Dennis. Glad to have you with us.
Good morning, Larry. It's a great morning, and it's a good day to go fishing.
It is a good day to go fishing. I don't know. I'm assuming you get opportunities, but you don't work all the time. Dennis is officially the senior aquatic zoologist, but his title, Dennis, and tell that to our listeners again, what your duties are with the TVA.
Okay, I manage the River and Reservoir Compliance Monitoring Program, and so we monitor throughout the 7-state region, the Tennessee Valley region, and we cover 31 reservoirs.
Golly.
Where we look at the fisheries, and we look at the benthic macroinvertebrates, which are aquatic bugs.
Yes.
And we look at waterfowl.
And you've been doing this for a while, as we mentioned, and everything. And I know there's so much going on through TVA. And, of course, our interest over here is primarily Pickwick, Kentucky Lake, and a lot of the reservoirs that lead into that, all the way up through Chattanooga and all the way into East Tennessee, all the way into Neyland Stadium, just about, right, Bill Cooksey? So
absolutely, throw a rock and hit it.
Yeah, I wanted you to mention that, but the subjects and your capacity of doing these things, Dennis, I know. Do you deal much with Asian carp?
Yes, I am. I'm the point person for TVA, and I'm a member of a state and federal group within the whole Mississippi Basin. So we've been working on Asian carp for about 4 or 5 years now.
Well, if you don't mind, I need to get your take on what's going on with the Asian carp. Because,
okay.
Bill Cooksey, he has a place on Kentucky Lake. We were talking about even before this about a Vanishing Paradise is going to be on Kentucky Lake with a gentleman from the Great Lakes, and also with Mike Butler of the the Tennessee. Yes, yeah, dealing with Asian carp. So talk about that from in your career. Where does the Asian carp rank up there as far as really bad things to deal with?
Well, the first invasion back in the late 80s and 90s were the zebra mussels.
Yes.
When the zebra mussels came in.
Yeah, Bill,
and everybody thought,
yeah,
it's going to affect the ecology. But and they're filter feeders, so they're going to be eating the same organisms that these Asian carp eat because they're filter feeders. So they're going to be swimming around with their mouths open, and they're eating plankton.
Yeah.
So if you eat plankton, you're basically eating the food for all the little, fry, all the other bait fish and game fish. And so you can potentially take away a food source from the natural fauna that's there.
Yeah.
But now, what we've seen at Kentucky Lake, it's bad.
All right.
But CWRA has been doing a lot of work with the crappie and the shad and looking at cycles. So they have cycles of, boom and bust in populations.
Yeah.
And it's a natural cycle. before the Asian Carp invasion and after the Asian Carp invasion. And right now, we're on an upward swing with the crappie, and it depends on what the flooding has done with the game fish, but the cycles are still about the same. So we really don't know if the Asian Carp are going to affect the game fish species per se. Definitely. We need to have a lot of information, several years to look at long-term trends. And that's what part of what my group does. We have a reservoir ecological health program. So we're looking at the fish community over years. So we have fish community data from 1993 to date. So we have over, several years of data, so we can have long-term trends. And we're looking to see if this invasive species is affecting the community as a whole. Now, having said that, perception is 90% of everything, right?
Right.
And so if people say, oh, the Asian carp are devastating the fishery and all that, but the data's not proving it, you still, when I go out to Kentucky Lake and talk to the people out there, they're convinced that the fishing's gone down. But I watch, the crappie fishing shows, Saturday mornings, and they're still having tournaments out there, and they're still catching a bunch of crappie.
Well, they did. So, they did last weekend, So,
so what that's true. I mean, it's with crappie fishing is still good. So, having said all that, I'm working with this group of state and federal partners. We're tracking these fish, so we're trying to figure out where they're going, and so we can work with commercial fishermen and the other state and federal partners where we can net these things out of the system. So this year on President's Day, Senator McConnell and Representative Comer and Governor Baxter came down to Kentucky Lake, and we removed, 17,000 pounds of Asian carp with this new netting technique. So that works, and Kentucky was going to do that 10 more times.
Wow.
So we're getting a handle of it, and we're learning how to get rid of these things, and we have barrier technologies we're looking at now.
Yeah.
And so if we could stop the fish from coming from the Ohio, we could stop the Asian carp from coming into our system. And the ones that are in our system, it appears that they're not very successful at reproducing. So they lay their eggs, but the eggs settle down in the sediment and die. So that's good news.
Well,
so
we
if we
need
can keep them from coming up into the system, we're good.
And right now, and I know Bill, I know you want to jump in on this a little bit, but right now, as far as the Asian carp have, where's the stopping point? I mean, they've been found from where to the Kentucky Lake? Do we go into, and maybe Bill might know this, I'm not really for sure if they've got to Chattanooga. I don't know.
They're in Chickamauga.
They're in Chickamauga.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
They're in Chickamauga.
Right. There's been one sighting in Chickamauga.
One sighting. Okay. All right. So Bill,
picture of a fish in the bottom of a boat.
Okay.
So, but with all the monitoring that my team has been doing, TWA has been doing, and all the fishermen out there, not a one has been seen. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm just saying they're extremely rare if they are there.
Well, we know they're in Kentucky Lake. We know they're up there. And
we know where the leading edge is because all the 400 fish that we have tagged with sonic transmitters.
Yeah.
We know they moved into Pickwick Reservoir, and then this year with high water, half of them moved back to Kentucky. So the leading edge is at Pickwick right now. That's where the majority of the leading edge is.
Okay.
Now, having said that, you have some strays going upstream, but
yes, yeah,
that's how we're keeping track of them. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to start a new monitoring program here in July.
Oh, really?
And so we're going to search for Asian carp from Knoxville, from Melton Hill and Fort Loudon Dam, all the way on down to Gunnersville.
That's pretty
cool.
So
we're going to be searching. We're going to be searching weekly.
That's pretty
for
cool.
These things, and we're working with TWA. We're going to be working with Alabama, and we're going to try to put a lot of effort into this to confirm, yes, are they there or not, and figure out where they're at. The other states and federal partners are dealing with Kentucky and Pickwick and Wheeler and Wilson.
Yeah.
And so they've got that covered. They just needed some help up in the upper East Tennessee, and we've we've worked with our internal TVA partners, and we're adjusting some projects so we can go out and do this work. So it's important work.
It is very important work. Yeah. And we're talking to Dennis Baxter, who just joined us, senior aquatic zoologist, been with the TVA for over 34 years. And Bill, I know you have a invested interest in Kentucky Lake, so
sure.
You're hearing Dennis's talks. Your reaction to what he said?
Oh, it's absolutely an up and down thing, and Asian carp aren't the only culprit for some of our fisheries issues in Kentucky Lake. I mean, this flooding that we've had in all through the springs for the last several years, and all the way into early summer, that's messed up spawning conditions, killed our grass. There are a lot of reasons for the fisheries downturn, but obviously the carp are a visible problem, and when suddenly you have to clean the slime out of your boat, you're confronted with it.
Well, we got a couple of minutes here. Dennis, where can people go to find out information like this? This is really good stuff I know my listeners all throughout the Mid-South would probably not even know this. We appreciate you opening up to us. Where can they go to find information about what you guys are doing?
Well, you can go to TVA.com. You can search that under the water resources.
Yes.
And there's a lot of information in there. We also have an email where you can email TVA. It's called TVA Info.
Okay.
And you can ask questions, and we have 72 hours to respond back to the question. So if you have questions about anything, please email us. Please ask.
Well, Dennis, we want you. Go ahead. Excuse me.
Plus the states, your local state has a great website.
Yeah.
Go to so all the data that TVA collects, we give it to the states because it's part of our collection permit requirement. So they have our data, and we work with them directly, and we even present information together. So hopefully we're singing the same song from the same sheet of paper there.
Well, you are. tnwildlife.org for our state, and Dennis, we'd love to get you back on maybe in August to talk about what happened in July, if you wouldn't mind recapping a little bit about how July went. There's so much interest down here. I know we could talk all we wanted to about that beautiful place where you live over in the mountains and things along that line, and our folks can't wait to get over there, including me. But at the same time, you're a vast interest in the talk about Asian carp. Thank you for taking time for your busy schedule, and we'll get you back. Okay, Dennis?
Thank you very much, Larry. You have a great day.
I sure will. All right, that's Dennis Baxter of the TVA, senior aquatic zoologist. Let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray and be right back.